Hello and welcome to another podcast with Lillian and Andy. This time we're going to be discussing the workshops which Lillian is going to run as an introduction to the Overcome course.
And this is about the hope and why it is so crucial to establish some hope. So I'll ask you, Andy, when you got the diagnosis, why on earth did you start searching for something else? I mean, doctors have told you what to expect.
They don't tell you very much, Lillian, to be honest. They just tell you you have this condition. It's quite negative. There's nothing positive about the diagnosis. And I thought this isn't the full story. This isn't everything. So I did a lot of research online, a lot of research. I spent hours looking up various alternative solutions, and eventually I found you. And I think I was led towards the idea of hope because it's such a it's the flip side, it's the alternative to what you're given by the traditional medical narrative.
And exactly, and by finding out everything I have done in the last 8 years, I realized that the people that succeeded getting back to good health again, their journey started precisely by establishing hope again. So we'll make a free workshop about hope, and feel free to ask question as a comment on this video wherever I might share it, and then I can prepare with your questions and the material I already have about why can you trust the hope? Why are you not necessarily needing to go down the bleak future that is probably offered you on most doctors and most web pages.
Mm.
So what do you think about, you've been through several of my lessons and sessions. Have I succeeded? Have we
Yes, yes,
succeeded?
we have. My mind is very shifted from what I originally thought because there's an awful lot on the internet as well from the research that I did that is very negative. And I avoided deliberately reading some of the stuff that talks about the later stages and all this. I avoided reading that stuff because I thought, I don't want to know this. I want to be positive. I want to look forward to my future, not dread it. And I think the course I did has really helped me to change my perspective and think that there is a light, there is something positive in my future. It's not bleak, it's not necessarily a wheelchair for decades or, So it was brilliant. The course was brilliant. It really shifted my perspective. And that's, you need to change yourself,
And what
really.
is for you top 3, 5 in regard to myths to break?
The myths to break. Okay. The myth that you will always degenerate. It's a degenerative condition. You will always only go in one direction, because this doesn't happen. I have better days, I have worse days. So I'm not going in one direction. I'm fluctuating. I'm going in all kinds of directions. That stress has nothing to do with Parkinson's. Stress is the direct cause of it, as far as I'm concerned. I had a very, very stressful time in the lead up to my diagnosis for several years, and I firmly believe that this was the cause of my diagnosis. I have no doubt about that. And
And is there more?
yeah, I think there's also the doubts I have over the DAT scan, which was the diagnostic tool they used to diagnose me with PD. I think this is a very interesting point because a DAT scan only shows the dopamine in your brain at a certain point in time. And when you're in a very stressful environment, such as a hospital, having a scan which is going to just completely dictate your future, you feel very stressed. And so there's not going to be as much dopamine in your brain. I think it's a very unreliable diagnostic tool. I think it's not accurate enough. So that's another myth I think that I'd like to bust.
That's a good start. So definitely something I will look into and help people that show up on the workshops to uncover these myths, but that can be other facets of this. And we have decided that we open the door to all kinds of symptoms because Parkinson's symptoms is one, and I've learned so much because it's easy to see the symptoms and people can tell about the shift in symptoms, but we open up for all symptoms. So everybody that have experienced that there might be more to their symptoms, that the symptoms are not steady night and day, they can benefit from joining this way of thinking and coming to this free workshop, and then the dedicated people can maybe go a step further to my courses. So do you agree with me that maybe also the idea of different diagnoses, different symptoms is maybe also a myth that we have this boxing of diagnosis?
Yeah, I think diagnosis is a handy wording. It's a handy wording for medical people to put you into a box. But I think that, I mean, I have other symptoms that are apparently not related to my condition, but of course they are because I am one body. I get symptoms in different places in my body which are part of my condition and that I can do something about.
So the other symptoms that doesn't fit in your Parkinson box, do they vary during a day or
They
week?
do vary during the day. Yeah, I notice them sometimes. Sometimes I don't notice them. I have sort of what's called neuropathy in my feet, and sometimes I notice it, and sometimes I don't notice it. It varies, but apparently it's not part of my condition. I was told this by a nurse. It's not part of your condition. It's not related because it doesn't fit into our box. And this is very, very narrow, old-fashioned thinking that needs to be challenged because we are one body and everything is connected.
And then the next step in regard to the workshop, everybody is welcome to that. And then I will start to notice who interact with my material and ask questions and so on. And why do you think that's necessary to have a little eye on how active people are?
I think people need to be active because you need to engage with the course to get any benefit from it. You need to engage with it. You need to do the work. You need to study. You need to think about your the way that you live your life because the course is a fundamental change to your thinking. And this is a vital part of the course that you change how you think about your body and your behavior and your stress and how you cope with your stress, how you notice your stress or you don't notice your stress. These are all shifts in perspective which are necessary, and you need to engage with the material to get this shift.
Exactly, and it takes some time. We have decades of not knowing what's going on. So the more you are dedicated, either you show up on the calls or you engage in the material and do the homework, all of these things help you to succeed. And I need success stories here.
Mm.
So I will start becoming tiny more critical on who I am on board. So if people are having a months long vacation, that's probably not for them. Or if they have a full-time job and children or pets, they probably don't have the time either. So what do you think? How much time do you spend? One thing was under the course, but now you have sort of proceed. How much time do you spend, let's say, first interacting with the material and now here after?
First interaction with the material, I suppose it was sort of several hours a day. And now I do a few hours a day where I am focused on the strategies that we get from the course. So I don't feel as good if I don't devote that time. I notice that I'm not doing as well if I don't devote the time to my strategies that I'm using.
And you can say you're in the middle of the transformation from I don't know if it's rude to say a non-knowing person with Parkinson, and now you have in the middle of the shift to getting aware of everything you say and do.
Yeah,
And
it's interesting, Lillian, because as you go forward in time after doing the course, you still continue to develop your skills in noticing your triggers, your stress triggers. You become more aware of doing that. You're more aware of your own thinking style, and this just continues to grow.
and that's what's needed. So
Yeah.
when you are dedicated under the course, things will slowly start to shift your whole understanding about what you're doing, thinking, and your emotions, and so on. It will make a shift, and that, of course, takes some time. Maybe it takes a couple of years until you are completely back to the healthy version, but that's okay. Getting better is also
Mm.
good, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think you part of that process is unlearning bad habits and learning new habits. For example, yesterday I was in a car which broke down. My right leg started to tremor, symptom, and I just thought, I can't do anything about this. This is beyond my control. Just let it go. Just relax. I relaxed, my tremor stopped, and I just thought, yes.
And it's exactly these stories that are part of the course, these symptom stories where we break our own beliefs
Mm.
about what's going to happen. So first it's this hope workshop where I help you break all the myths about chronic illness as such and symptoms, and then the dedicated guys can spiral to the course and get so much more information. So, do you have any last things to say to the guys that wonder if they have time and dedication to the first workshop?
It's really worth making the time. Just make the time, clear your schedule, because this is the most important thing you'll ever do.
And I would dare risking, in Danish we say one eye, and saying that it will end up being a shift in the way that you think chronic illness here in the world. We are spearheading some groups and courses on where you learn to think different about all this. So, more comments?
Just do the workshops and see what you think about them. Be open-minded. That's a crucial aspect of this. You need to open your mind and think beyond what you've been told in the past because it's not necessarily true.
Sounds good. We will end the recording here.